Hello and welcome back to Prepare to SLP, Graduate Apps 101. Today we're in Unit 3, Applying to the Programs, Lesson 3.3, covering your resumes. So your resume is an important document used to outline experiences that will either directly or indirectly support how you'll be successful in the graduate school setting and beyond. It will also help shape your personal essays, and then it will help you complete your supporting materials portion of SIDCAS. So resume formatting, what you want to make sure you do, be concise. So use things like the bullet point formula for each sentence. We'll go through the bullet point formula that's in your handouts. I want you to also keep your font size to 10 to 12 point, set margins to no less than 0.5 inches. You'll see during my example, I did not follow that recommendation, but it is important to make sure that you're following those formatting standards. Do not use the word first or the person first language, pronouns such as I, me. Use past tense if describing past positions. Use present tense in describing your current positions. Be consistent with your punctuation. So if you use periods at the end of a bullet point, use them at the end of every bullet point. You'll see on the slide, I do not use any periods at all. Use bold, italics, and underline, as well as visual lines to help break up the text and make your resume easier to process. General formatting. So at the top of your resume, you're going to be having a header. We'll go through a couple of examples where you'll see each of these formatting programs. So name, mailing address, phone number, and email. You want to make your name big and bold just so that it stands out. Next section will be your education. So you'll list your most recent education first, including your university, majors, minors, anticipated graduation date, and then also consider including your GPA. So if your major GPA, so your CSD GPA is higher, maybe add that on there as well, just to help them hone in on the fact that you did well in the coursework that's going to apply strongly towards your future career. Experience. This section will include things like research, presentations, job, volunteer, or organizations. List these experiences in reverse chronological order. So again, most recent comes first. You're going to again use that bullet point formula, which we'll review in your handouts. Next thing you'll be including are awards and recognitions. So list any awards that you've received, who presented the award, when it was presented, what it was for. Next will be professional affiliations, any affiliations such as NISHLA, other campus organizations. Campus and community involvement, list any involvement in campus organizations or communities. So that might be, Greek life or campus ministry, something of the sort. And then additional skills, any other relevant skills that you have. I'm bilingual. I am very strong in using online documentation systems, things that might be relevant to being a speech pathologist or being a graduate student. So let's go ahead and take a second. We're going to be looking at the resume that I submitted for my application back 7 years ago now, which dates me a little bit. Let's go ahead and share this here. So before we even get there, I apologize. We'll look through different resume handouts that I have prepared for you. So my resume is going to be an example that you do receive. I've also found various examples of resumes that you can go through, as well as units and tips on how to write your resume. So as always, University of Iowa will stand out because that's what I'm familiar with. We have resume writing tips, bullet point formula that I've discussed, strengths and weaknesses, transferable skills worksheets, lots of things to think about when it comes to building your resume and coming up with the content you want on there. Then I have a whole list of different resumes, different templates that you might consider. Majority of these are pretty straightforward resumes, but you can also consider doing a more creative resume as well. So let's go ahead and take a peek at some of those specific resumes, including my own. We're also going to be looking at this first example here, University of Arkansas CSD example resume. So peeking through here, pulling up my resume, let's go ahead. We're going to enter here. Find my resume as we're going through. All right. So I apologize for the delay. Here is my resume. So if you're looking through my resume, you'll see I have name up here. Again, you're going to want to make that bigger and bolder. Personal address, email address, phone number. Then I've got my own information in this content. So I included my education, being my bachelor's degree from the University of Iowa, expected in May of 2015 when I graduated. And then I also included my high school diploma with my GPA, just to indicate that I've been this type of student for this long. I then have my experience section. If I were to go back, what I would likely do is break up this experience based upon the different types of experiences. So work experiences versus, as you can see, various research assistantships, I would probably have those separated. But each of these different categories, I have bolded what the experience was, where it occurred or what organization it was with, when it occurred or how long I was involved, and then the different duties that I had as I was in that experience. You can see that I use current language here, kind of present tense. I organize, group in one-on-one meetings and lead group discussions, attend 4 meetings per week and help lead music once every other week, and volunteer at home football concession stands to raise money for organization. So all of that being said, it might not seem relevant to speech therapy, but it does show commitment to an organization. It shows that you're willing to volunteer your time for something, and that you're serious about jumping into whatever you're about to jump into. The next thing is a little bit more related to the speech therapy field, my research assistantship. I had it with the University of Iowa Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders, so very relevant from 2014 to 2015. For this, it was my honors thesis. I contacted and recruited participants for research study on listening effort, performed multiple hearing tests on participants, and then collected and analyzed data for a final honors thesis. So you can see I'm using really strong language. This is now in past tense, meaning that I had completed this project. And then as we continue through, I've got summer internships, more research assistantships, volunteer opportunities within the department. All those are listed here under my experiences section. Again, if I were to go back, I might format this slightly differently, having some more headings, but this is what I submitted for graduate school, and it did get me into the top 3 programs as I had mentioned. Next section here was awards and recognitions. I had received the 2014 Ogden Undergraduate Award from the University of Iowa, Communication Sciences and Disorders, given to select undergraduates based on excellence and professionalism in the field. I believe that I had taken that description straight from the award that was provided me itself. I also included how many semesters I was on the dean's list, how many times I was on the president's list. And then again, you can see that additional abilities section here. Personally, I might even leave that off. I don't think many of these programs care that I'm proficient in Microsoft Word, but maybe something about 4 years of Spanish study or basic communication in American Sign Language. Those are a little bit more relevant for our field. So let's compare my resume now to one that is provided by the University of Arkansas. This is also in your handouts as you're going through things, but this handout is nice because it is CSD specific. So you can see here we have Jane Razorback. They have the formatting slightly different than what I had when it comes to the address, phone number, all that information right in the line. Education looks very similar. Bachelor's degree, expected in May of X, University of Arkansas. You can even include your minor as they did here, and then your GPA. Relevant speech pathology experience. So this is where, like I said, I might have modified my resume, including all this information here, different things that you might have done to boost your resume throughout undergrad that you can talk about in this section. Research experience, talking about maybe your honors thesis or other research that you've been involved with throughout your undergrad experience. Your honors and awards. The one thing that I would expand upon here if I were working on it from this perspective is adding that description. So how I received that reward or what made me qualified to receive that award is something I would include here. Professional presentations, if you've ever done something like gone to ASHA or even a NSHLA presentation, those professional affiliations like NSHLA, and then campus and community involvement, going through things like Greek life or your volunteer work, etc. This is a 1-page document. Again, you want to keep those resumes to 1 to 2 pages total, but you can see you can include content that's relevant, making sure that it's organized in whatever way makes most sense to you and feels organized to you. There's additional resources here, like I had mentioned as we looked through that handout, different ways that you can format a resume. They are not as specific when it comes to looking at CSD, but they are helpful as you're looking at making and building your resume. So hopefully this is helpful. One thing that I want you to do, let's go ahead and go back to our slides here. I want you to make sure that after you've done your resume, come up with the information that you want on there, that you have someone review it. So that might be making an appointment with the Division of Student Affairs at your current college. That Division of Student Affairs is a resource that many people don't use, but is very, very useful. They'll probably have their own resume templates, their own resume tips and tricks for you, and typically will provide services where they will review your resume and give you feedback. Alternately, you can also sign up for a resume consultation with me. So what you would do is you'd sign up, pay that small additional cost, and we would go ahead, shoot me your resume. I'll give you edits and feedback, and we'll have a call to talk about it, see if you have any questions about the feedback that I give you. So either of those options are great options, but I want you to make sure that you have another pair of eyes on your resume to make sure it's as strong as it can be before you submit. You have now completed lesson 3.3, applying to programs, the resume section. I hope to see you during our next lesson. Thank you so much. If you have questions, shoot me an email at preparedslp@gmail.com. Thank you.